Yeah, power and energy, because we already know, and he said we are at an inflection point, and we hope that all things will accelerate, because we know that all the current government pledges, even if they were fully achieved, will fall well short of bringing what is needed to cut emission to zero by 2050 and to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 Celsius degrees. So we have to change the rhythm. We have to accelerate across the board in all the sectors of our activity, human life, production, industry, whatever, you name it. But one of the main battlefield is energy. We have to accelerate the phasing out from coal and gases that creates emissions to more renewable and clean energy. The International Renewable Energy Agency has been in this year one incredible source, not just of data analysis, but also of proposal, of solutions in this direction. And Francesco La Camera, he's the Secretary General of IRENA. This is his voice to the F20 summit.
Dear Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to join you virtually for the F20 Climate Solution Forum. We find ourselves at a critical moment in time, and the window of opportunity to achieve the 1.5 Celsius Paris Agreement goal is closing fast. The COVID crisis has laid bare the harsh reality of vulnerability and inequality in our society. It has led us to challenge and rethink the very system and policies that govern our lives. We already know that the current energy system is unfit for the resilient, equitable and climate-safe world that we all want to live in. And it's simply no longer possible to ignore this fact. Renewable energy has already proven itself to be more resilient than previously thought. Even during the disruption of the pandemic, renewable energy set a new record for new installed capacity in 2020. The cost of renewable technologies has decreased dramatically over the last decade, offering a viable alternative to fossil fuels, which entail unacceptable health and environmental effects. The benefits of the energy transition are clear, paving the way for not only the drastic health outcome, but also greater economic resilience, a world GDP growth contribution over 2%, and potentially more jobs for more than 4 million low-carbon jobs. We can use this moment to make a decisive shift in the current trajectory and use vehicles to link the short-term recovery measures with sustainable development and climate priorities. To this end, IRENA launched the World Energy Transition Outlook in June to provide a timeline and clear steps to manage a just and inclusive energy transition. It has been developed to meet the demand of the Paris Climate Agreement that aim to put the world on a 1.5 degree trajectory, while keeping the UN Sustainable Development Goals in mind. IRENA consider electrification and energy efficiency to be the main decarbonization driver, enabled by renewables, green hydrogen and sustainable biomass. And these technologies can shape the avenues to lead out of the crisis toward a decarbonized energy system. The energy transition is a global necessity, critical to our environmental, economical and social future. We look to global leaders across government, business, philanthropy and civil society to collaborate and push for the necessary changes. Forums and sessions such as the UN level dialogue, the G20 and COP26 provide a key opportunity for collective action. Indeed, it has been encouraging to witness the new commitments made as part of the UN high-level dialogue on energy, which took place last week. We have to build on this momentum, particularly ahead of COP26, but also beyond, switching our focus from dialogue to implementation. In the future, I hope we can look back on this decade and see what it was indeed the decade of action. The current situation gives us an opening to accelerate energy transition and to do so equitable. We have the technology, we have the know-how, we have the means. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attention.
And thank you very much to Francesco La Camera for sharing his thoughts with us. There's also come some good news from the meeting at the UN General Assembly last week in New York, because we don't need the investment in green technologies, especially in energy technologies, but we also need the de-investment in brown technologies. And the good piece of news is the Chinese promise not to invest anymore in coal power plants in their environment in the countries that they're partnering with. So that is definitely one step in the right direction.
Absolutely, Connie, and this is encouraging that Francesco La Camera confirmed that we do have technologies in place and that these technologies are getting cheaper. Renewables are getting cheaper, which makes a huge difference. You know, we are living a time of energy crisis, prices of gas, prices of oil. That's what we report on a day in, day out basis. But this was an encouraging message.